Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It is the 7th of November, 2024. The world may be on fire, but so is going to be the Star Wars fandom. Simon Kinberg is back, folks. Holy crap. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about, there's so much news today. It's insane. It's only Thursday. I mean, it's Hollywood After Dark, folks. You know what time it is. Click the like, and let's fucking go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome back to Hollywood After Dark, man. Oh my God. What a day. What a day. Obviously, if you pay attention to what's going on in the world around us, a lot of people are feeling all sorts of feels, and that's all right. But that's one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to, again, go back into the fold of talking about movies, because I do want to talk. I love them. I love them so much. They're so great. But not only do I want to have fun streams with you guys talking about movies, I also want to have discussions talking about different aspects of film and the film industry. Last night, we did a long one, about 2 hours and 40 minutes, asking the question, can cinemas survive in the age of streaming, essentially? Or really, what is the future of cinema? And to give you guys, I recommend the conversation. It was a good conversation. I love this thumbnail, by the way. Gotta love artificial intelligence. Make some great stuff really, really quickly. But the whole conversation is very interesting because movies, much like anything else, like it needs to have things that, it needs to be promoted, right? Whether it's through a robust marketing campaign or whether it's through vigorous word of mouth. And we hear about this sometimes. But often it's like, it's never gets amplified enough to where it needs to. And I feel that in many ways, if we did more of that, we would then be able to maybe get more people involved. It's tough because you have new movies coming out every week. You have new shows coming out every week. You've got everything, there's so much entertainment. It's not going to be for everyone. And so then the question becomes how do you support it all without going completely mad? And that might be a question for down the road, to be fair. That might be a question for down the road, because really what it's going to boil down to is figuring out ways to kind of come together as as a fandom of movie lovers, right? Not like a specific genre, but just a fandom of movie lovers, and push that forward. And I feel like the hardest part, though, is speaking to people in generalities when the obvious answer is probably trying to find a way to niche down. But that's difficult to do, because if you support one and don't support the other, then it's kind of like it feels lopsided. Or you might just go mad. You might just go absolutely batshit mad because there's so much to do, and you quite frankly are not able to keep up with it, right? And so that's that's what's going on. So let's kick into some early news before we get to the main stuff here, as people are trickling in. If you've been following the show The Penguin, sorry, if you've been following the show The Penguin, you might be happy to know that there's been some discussion, some idea, some inkling of wanting to move forward with either the character or anything else. And the show was great. I caught up last night with the last 2 episodes that have come out, and I would love to see them go further with this, but I don't know what the finale next week is going to bring. But here is essentially what they are saying for it to happen. So they were talking about the Penguin at the New York Comic-Con. And they said here that the showrunner, Lauren LaFranc, says in order for the show to get a second season, that they need to top ourselves. And if you've been watching the show, there are some things they can top. There are some things they could probably really, really, really dive into. But as for character work, as for the writing and direction and the violence and everything else, it's compelling. It's a lot of fun. And so you got here, they say, we put it all on the table. I think in that order to do a second season, we have to feel we can top ourselves. We have to feel like there's something more we can really dig into. I mean, I really care about all these characters, even if they're terrible people. And she went on to just say, I'd love to keep playing. It just has to be the right thing. And truth be told, that makes all the sense in the world, right? You absolutely have to figure out the best course of action to try to push forward a good story. It has to be the right story. Okay. Now, like if you look at it in regards to Star Wars, which we'll be talking about, they're in the same boat. They're in the same damn boat. And that to me is something that is going to be, again, it's kind of a juxtaposition of Hollywood, so to speak. However, speaking more about the DC side of things, we are learning today through a World of Real post, and I'm not going to click on them because I don't really like them. They're saying that with the success of the Penguin, DC wants more from the Reeves verse. Barry Keoghan's Joker series is rumored to be in the works. The Joker is rumored to be the main villain of the Batman Part 3. I don't know if we're going to get the Batman Part 3. I've always kind of thought like they were kind of aiming it to be the Batman Part 1 of the Batman Part 2, and like that's kind of it. But with the success of Penguin and people really wanting to spend more time in this like darker, grittier, grounded version of Gotham, I could see them wanting to do it. And it's one of the reasons why I keep saying that DC should make Batman the focal point of everything going forward. Build off of Batman into everything else, but have that be your grounded middle center. And they keep reverting back to Superman. And I keep having to reiterate this, and I keep hating being proven right. No one's asking for more Superman, legitimately, like as a whole, as a collective. But they keep trying to do it, and they do it right sometimes. You know, Man of Steel was really good. Superman and Lois found its audience, but not enough of one to keep going. The David Corenswet might do good. James Gunn might do good. I don't quite know. But they are literally at the bottom of a mountain trying to go uphill. Whereas Batman would just grapple hook to the top of the mountain is what I'm trying to say. People like those kind of stories, and those are ultimately going to always do better. And so I know, again, that you have your Superman fans out there that don't like to listen to reality on this one. They really don't like to hear that because they live in this bubble, this belief structure about that character when they don't realize that he should have been left in the 1970s and that we've evolved. And I'm sorry, given everything that's happened this past week. All right. I don't want a story about a goody fucking two shoes personally. If you do, good for you. And I hope you get it, but I don't. I do not care. Music Man here agrees with me. Yeah, Batman is the face of DC. Absolutely. They should just keep it all together, but of course they want to do their own thing. And, I'm kind of, I don't know, in the wrong for wanting to call that out, I guess. So yesterday we did the show, and then of course after it, we got a little bit of information coming out about the movie Red One, right? The new Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I think we kind of touched upon this yesterday, actually, in the chat, a little bit talking about Red One. And now we're finding out that Amazon and MGM are putting the movie in approximately 4,000 theaters starting next Friday. You can actually go see an early screening of the movie this Sunday. And they're showing it like at pretty much everywhere, right? I think my nearest Cinemark XD has it. I don't know if I want to see it in XD. Plus I have to work that day. But they're doing an early screening, and they're hoping that it's going to help spur people going to go see it. And I've talked a lot about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson before and his box office draw. It has a cap out. It has a cap out of about $400 million. It's true. It does. Every one of his, I think San Andreas is like really the only solo star that he's been in that's done more. But Red One over at Rotten Tomatoes right now, however you want to take that, they're saying 35% based on 23 reviews. Ain't great. Screen Rant here says big name stars collide for a festive adventure that's big on effects and spectacle, but curiously lacks any of the charm of the holidays. That to me is kind of weird. I mean, but okay, well, no, that makes sense because, if you look at a Halloween movie, Halloween movies are largely judged on like the vibe, the atmosphere, the spookiness of it, right? Are there skeletons? Are there cobwebs? Are there jack-o'-lanterns? This is something that helps set the stage, sets the atmosphere. And a lot of people really find themselves getting involved in a movie, in a story, when there's atmosphere. And so if they're saying there's no atmosphere there, that's kind of weird considering it's going to be in the North Pole. You got Helen O'Hara here, Empire Magazine, says there's a little bit of heart here in the story of two people who have lost faith in Christmas for different reasons. but more often it feels engineered in a lab to provide seasonal spectacle. That ain't good. Who wrote it? That's my question. Who wrote? Because this, by the way, Red One is a Hiram Garcia joint. We've talked about this yesterday. We talked about. Let me see here. Red One wiki. Bring this up here. All right. Okay. We're gonna take a look at this. All right. So I've already donated Wikipedia. Anyway, so it's an original story by Hiram Garcia. All right. It was written by Chris Morgan. Chris Morgan, by the way, has written a bunch of the Fast and Furious movies. He wrote Wanted and he wrote Gang Related. Wow. Okay. So they got Chris Morgan. They got the Fast and Furious guy to write an action-packed holiday, not even like a holiday rescue movie, right? With like a holiday rescue movie. All right, let's see here. Okay, here we go. Hiram Garcia at $7 Productions conceived the idea for the film, which was developed into a screenplay by Chris Morgan and Jake Kasdan to direct. All right. And so, that's what it was. Now, when this was initially pushed, they wanted to be a sequel. They wanted to be a franchise. This was going to be like all the levels that they could get their hands on to do this. This is what they wanted to do. That's exactly what they wanted it to do. They wanted it to be like Red 1, Red 2, Red 3, like Red the TV series, Red the coloring book, Red the video game, like whatever it could be. Red 1 this, Red 1, that's what they wanted. They wanted all that. 35% Rotten Tomatoes. That ain't great. I mean, look, does that mean that the movie's going to suck? Hell no. Doesn't mean nothing. It could be actually quite good. Looking up here, you've got Julian Roman from MovieWeb actually gave it a positive, saying Red One offers a surprisingly clever take on the Christmas mythology. A big budget action comedy delivers the requisite popcorn entertainment with visual splendor, but also succeeds in building its own new universe with memorable characters. Now, the last time, to be fair, that we had a Santa-based story that branched off into multiple sequels and had many memorable characters was the Santa Claus. Remember, we got the Santa Claus 2 and the Santa Claus 3. Now, you could argue that their successes, their quality was different compared to the first film. The first movie was a classic. I love the sequels as well for different varying reasons. But they went into this wanting it to be, CJ here brings up the Christmas Chronicles, right? The Kurt Russell ones. Those are the first one was pretty good. I will admit that. I did like the first one. I haven't seen the second one, but the first one I really liked. Christopher Columbus, I think, directed that or produced it, I think. But either way. But trying to build out this mythos, this mythology, this world building of characters, there's probably going to be a setup, to like go fight Krampus or something. Although Krampus could be in the movie too. I don't quite know. I have no idea what they're going to do with it. Either way, I look at it and I'm like, okay, 4,000 theaters. They are very much hoping that 4,000 theaters will be the magic number to make this a hit. If I was a betting man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to bet because I don't want to jinx it. I don't want the movie to do bad. I want people to go see it if they want to go see it. But the biggest problem in many ways is just like, are people having too much of The Rock? CJH says, are we talking about the Jack Black Santa movie? I just saw the trailer for that, for Satan or whatever it is. Not Bad Santa, whatever it's called. I did just see the trailer for that. And I will say that actually looked pretty funny. It looked like a streaming movie, to be honest with you. But I could see that movie in like 2004 doing gangbusters. Right? I could see that movie coming out a year after, a School of Rock when Jack Black was running really high. And and then that blowing up. Also, especially the Farrellys. So, the trailer didn't really give away everything. It showed a little bit of raunch, showed a little bit of comedy, showed a little bit of heart, and it gives you an idea about what to expect at the end of the day. And I feel like that's ultimately going to be all right. I feel like that's ultimately going to be something that should work out all right. Garrick here for $5. Thank you, Garrick. Could Red One be The Rock's franchise, or is it more of an ensemble since it has Chris Evans, J.K. Simmons, and Lucy Liu? I mean, yeah, it's an ensemble at that particular point in time. And the thing is, look, The Rock understands that he needs that. The Rock understands that he needs an ensemble, that he needs other people around him to elevate him. He is like, maybe you could argue that to some extent, The Rock is like a centerpiece, but the centerpiece of like a dinner display is, it's the centerpiece of it, but it's not what makes, you don't eat the centerpiece. You look at it and you go, okay. Sorry, I'm just like really dry today. I don't know what's going on. But I feel like with this movie, it's, I got to see it. I got to see it. Look, man, one of the best Christmas movies in the last like 10 years is Spirited on Apple TV Plus. Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell, kind of a musical retelling of Scrooge. Really good. Really, really, really good. But because it's on Apple TV Plus, like no one's seen it. Here, they're giving it this massive theatrical push. And it's coming out right around the time of Moana 2. And Moana 2 is going to be big for The Rock. Because people are going to want to see it. I want to see it. Moana 2 looks really good. But is Moana 2 then going to overshadow Red One? Is it going to be too much of The Rock? And remember, we've talked about this before. Dwayne The Rock Johnson has the key massive problem of oversaturation. Now, he's dialed it back in like the beginning part of the year. Like he was on WrestleMania doing all that stuff. That was good. Right? Hollywood Rock. Everyone loved it. And then but he's got to scale it back. Scale it back. Nobody wants to see Dwayne Johnson every day. You may like the guy, but you still don't want to see him every single day. And I feel like that's kind of what we need to remember about this. But some people, on the other hand, they feel like maybe they need to kind of take off. They need to kind of dip off into the sunset. But hold on here. We'll get to that. Garrick for 5. Thank you. The Rock tries to make his own franchises, but keeps bailing after the first movie. Where is San Andreas 2 or Rampage 2? Where is even Red Notice 2? Exactly. And that's always been part of my argument. And I've been making this argument now for well over 4 years. That Dwayne Johnson is not a movie star. He's an entertainer. He's like the highest entertainer and the highest paid entertainer in the world. Everyone knows who he is. People genuinely like the guy. He's a likable guy. He's a good actor, or at least a decent actor. He knows what to give the audience. But the problem, though, is he's always chasing the puck. He's always chasing the puck. And he'll go wherever he needs to go. Remember, he went from Netflix over to Warner Brothers with Black Adam. That failed. He went over to Amazon with Red One. That could fail. Where's he going to go next? I mean, there's only one logical place for him to go at the end of the day. And that's Marvel. But on Marvel, he's going to be on a tight leash. On Marvel, he's not going to be able to go in with his own production company. Not like Ryan Reynolds was with Deadpool. But Deadpool had 2 films that had very successful outings. And people really, really, really wanted to see more of that. And if they altered it or they deviated in any way, it would be chaos. So instead, they rewarded it and it worked. But they had already built the foundation. They'd already built what they needed. And that was kind of the big thing. Yeah, Garrick here says they've been talking about San Andreas 2 for years. San Andreas came out in 2015. 2015. Okay. You run the risk of having it be too long in between sequels. And that's a problem. Speaking of problems, Ridley Scott's got some thoughts about Quentin Tarantino. Ridley Scott, a man who is coming up on 80 or he's over 80, when asked his thoughts on Quentin Tarantino retiring after his 10th film, I love this. He says, I don't fucking believe that bullshit. Shut up and go make another movie, which is a very Ridley Scott thing to say. Which is such a Ridley Scott. Like Ridley Scott is going to be making movies even after he's dead. He will have programmed an AI, trained a model on him and be like, no, this is what I want. I want you to get all the coverage in the world and go from there. And obviously, we're getting, he's right. He's right to call it Tarantino. Like, why quit doing what you love? It's like literally, I've said this before. Maybe not to you guys in a while, but like, I've thought about this, right? So like, you guys know that I've done my movie In Search Of, and I'd love to do like more found footage movies. And I'd love to do that. Like where I'm at in my life, I've thought about this and I'm like, man, I would love to just do like, raise the money to do one of these little movies and then just give it away. Just fucking give it away. Just be like, all right, it's free to watch. There you go. Put it up on Tubi, so I make a little bit of profit to fund another one and then crowdfund another one and another one and another one. And like, that's just it. I don't need to have millions of dollars. I've got my home that I own. I've got, my family. I've got whatever, man. I've got good stuff. I want to like focus on creating and then just kind of give it away. I think that's my philosophy. And I think that'd be good to do. So you keep making movies. I guarantee you Tarantino's got tons of ideas. But Tarantino also has the problem, and I think we can acknowledge this. Tarantino has an auteur problem, meaning he's seen as an auteur, right? Ridley Scott is as well, but Ridley Scott earned the right to like make 25 movies a year where one is good and 24 suck. He's earned that right. But you know what? Here's the thing, guys. So is Tarantino. Tarantino has earned the right to do 25 movies a year. And 24 of them could suck, and his fans will keep going back. People look forward to a Tarantino movie for a number of reasons. A lot of it is the dialogue. A lot of it is the character interaction. It's the stories. It's the craziness. It's the zaniness. Not all of that is very heavily effects driven. Sure, you got period pieces like Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained and, The Hateful Eight and Once Upon a Time. And then you got Reservoir Dogs, which is just it was in a warehouse. I got that movie on goddamn 4K. A movie that just 99% is in a warehouse with dudes talking to each other. And I have the 4K of that movie and it's great. Look at like Death Proof even. Death Proof is just like, it's a car chase movie with a lot of talking and a lot of shots of Mary Elizabeth Winstead. No. It was the other woman's feet. Whatever. That's the whole point though. Now I agree that Tarantino doesn't want to end up like Scott making movies now. Okay. But The Last Duel was a good movie. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right? But again, Ridley Scott will make Gladiator 2 is going to be an excellent movie. So, do that. Yeah. Music Man is right. Tarantino's first movie is a play. There's a photo. I don't have it right now. There's a photo I saw recently of Tarantino going to the set of Reservoir Dogs in like his his early 90s Geo Metro, going to film Reservoir Dogs, driving up to set in a Geo fucking Metro. That's what it is. That is what it is. Is he, you got to just do it, man. Tarantino, quit being a bitch. And, speaking of quit being a bitch, I got to say this too. Daniel Craig, what the fuck, bro? When asked who he'd like to see play the next James Bond, he says, I don't care. Now, he's probably being cheeky. He's probably being stoic, maybe. Maybe he's doing it like Bond's character. I don't know. But, not that he has any say or he should care, but it's kind of like people are curious about where the franchise is going to go. People are really curious about where that franchise is going to go now. And I would like to think that it's going to go to great places. And if I were, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's just being a dick. I don't know. I just kind of wish Daniel Craig would be like a little cooler about it. Right? People love the 5 movies that he did. A lot of people really, really, really love the Bond films that he was in. So I don't really see the point of, I don't care. Whatever, dude. Chill out. Now, David Zaslav, on the other hand, well, it's good to follow Harrison Ford's footsteps. I would need to see it in context for that to be correct, Anthony. I don't disagree with you, but I need to see that in context. But Zaslav, Zazzy, the guy most hated in Hollywood, more so, for business practices than anyone else, I think, right now, even confirmed that Joker 2 was disappointing, saying even in an industry of hits and misses, we must acknowledge that our studio business must deliver more consistency. Although I would argue, based upon what I've heard about Joker Folie à Deux, it's quite consistent with the first movie. But it's the messaging that people didn't want to hear. And that might also be, again, a factor for just where our culture is at this particular point in time. The movie, I haven't seen Joker 2, so I can't say if it's disappointing. I have heard generally mixed reviews. I saw the infamous bathroom scene. I don't get what people are saying about that. That's the infamous like sexual assault bathroom scene. I didn't glean sexual assault. I just figured they were going to delouse his ass, but whatever. Maybe, but then again, that could also be the term too. Yeah. And so, hey, Samara's going, yeah, we're bringing it back, buddy. We're bringing it back. So I don't know. I mean, look, man, the Joker took 5 years to come on out. It took 5 years. He won Best Supporting Actor in 2020. By 2021, the movie should have been out. Okay. Yeah, we had COVID. Yeah, there were protocols. Yeah, there was a lot of things. Okay. But the movie should have had a tight release date and go from there. And it wouldn't have been seen as disappointing. But when you have 5 years of waiting for the film to come out and then it underwhelms, that goodwill you built up 5 years ago goes away. It's true. It's just like, that's why Marvel will keep, they'll reorient, they'll readjust, they'll do those kind of things. But at the same time, they will also just sally forth, and they need to just sally forth. We need to remember that, right? We need to remember that. Moving on here, we found out that Alien Romulus will be releasing on Hulu in just 2 weeks from today. So if you haven't seen Alien Romulus, you haven't bought your VHS copy of it yet, and you haven't or you haven't got the movie on digital, you can get it on Disney Plus and Hulu on November 21st. I haven't seen the movie yet. I will probably wait till then and just watch it in UHD with my nice headset on. Pour myself a bottle of Rockstar, and then and sit there. What did I say? No, I know Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor. Did I misspeak on that one? I might have. There's a lot going on today, and I'm congested too, which sucks. All right, so getting into some other interesting stuff here. Listen, a lot going on today, a lot to discuss. Hello Neighbor is getting a movie. Tyler McIntyre, the writer of Five Nights at Freddy's, you worked on Five Nights at Freddy's, is writing the script. Now, if you don't know what Hello Neighbor is, it's an interesting video game. You know Alien Isolation, where you're running around the Sevastopol and you're trying to outrun the alien and figure out what's going on and get off the ship and all that jazz. That's essentially what's going on with this. You're kind of going around the neighbor's house, or and it goes deeper and deeper and gets weirder and weirder. It's a fun series. I think it's a fun series that there is going to be a lot of people. I think they did a TV show, they did a cartoon show. So 2 seasons now. Right? I think so. Maybe something like that. I don't know. They've done stuff with it. I think they did a cartoon show. Could have sworn I got an email about that. But anyway, this should be interesting. And I'll tell you what's even going to be more interesting. Okay, this is big. This is big news, guys. We gotta be ready for this one. There's a Mass Effect TV show in the works. There is a Mass Effect TV show in the works. And here's what we know. It's in the works at Amazon. Daniel Casey will write and executive produce the series. Daniel Casey, who is this guy? Let's find out here. Let's see. What has he done? What has he done? I'm trying to look up his, did he work on? He was a writer and editor known for Fast 9. So the writer of Fast 9 is developing is developing and overseeing a Mass Effect franchise. Now, look, I don't want to sit there and poo-poo the guy, but Mass Effect is a very involved, very in-depth, very beloved franchise, where in the third game, all of your choices leading up to the ending of that point meant nothing. Whereas Warhammer, Henry's blue ball in his heart. I was just thinking the same thing. Avi Arad is producing. Oh my God. Can that guy just go away? Can Avi Arad, please, for the love of all that is holy in the world, just get out of making stuff? Here, I'll take a look at the article. Mass Effect TV series in the works at Amazon from Fast and Furious 9 writer. I'll put it to you like this. Fast and Furious 9 is the only Fast and Furious movie I did not care for. Not that I didn't like it. It just, It just didn't work. I don't know. Okay, so what we got here. Daniel Casey is set to write and executive produce. Kareem Zarek will executive produce under his Cedar Tree Productions banner with Ari. Oh, not Avi Arad. It's Ari Arad, Avi's son. Not to say that that's any better. It was previously reported in 2021 that Amazon was in negotiations to develop a Mass Effect TV series, but there's been no updates till now. Yeah. So then the question is it going to be FemShep? Is it going to be? I don't think they're going to do FemShep. I don't think they're going to do FemShep. I think they would probably do. They would probably end up doing just Shepard. I mean, look, Jennifer Hale's FemShep was a good characterization. I don't think anyone really disliked FemShep at all. But I just don't see them doing it. Now, are they going to get Yvonne Strahovski to come back as Miranda? Wouldn't that be great? That would be. They could do that. I think they could do that. Could Seth Green come back as the pilot? Let's go. Let's see. Parallax says, I think talking about Henry Cavill. The franchise is hotter with Space Marine 2, and Henry's doing nothing with it, only getting that one episode in Secret Levels. No, you got to understand, man. It takes a long time for stuff to get off the ground. All right, there's like rights issues that they're worried about with that. They've got to figure everything out. They've got to get Amazon to agree on a budget. Henry's got to come up with a Bible, a show Bible, in order to be able to do all this stuff. And it ends up taking a fair amount of time. And so the problem is that they announce things too soon, which is what we're going to get to here in a couple minutes. But speaking of something that was announced, I think we all can agree with, or maybe not. Ryan Reynolds says that he and Hugh Jackman likely will not be hosting the 2025 Oscars, but does hope to do it one day, saying, I wouldn't be present mentally. I would kind of be constantly writing in my head or projecting potentially tragic outcomes on the live stage. That's, No, dude, Samir, yes, Henry Cavill is overseeing the show. Henry Cavill is overseeing the Warhammer universe. He's going to be very heavily involved in everything. Trust me. Will Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman then be at the Oscars? I mean, it's possible. They maybe want to surprise people. Who knows? I don't really know. I don't really know. So, okay. Getting into the final stretch here. So, D23 Brazil starts tomorrow with major news from Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, and more. Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. You'll get, what is it? Pixar, Walt Disney, Disney live action. And then, of course, on Saturday is going to be Lucasfilm and Marvel. And, of course, I'm not going to be streaming on Saturday because I'll be at work. And not long after that, well, maybe I will, depending on what's going on. But tomorrow, by the time I go live, we'll be able to get the information coming out of that, and that kind of makes sense that, they're going to have big announcements out of D23 Brazil. I don't know. I mean, look, I understand CCXP is coming to Brazil. They're probably going to show off the Superman trailer. Brazil's a really big market. There's a lot that goes on there with everything. And so obviously I think news was going to break that we are going to get a new Star Wars trilogy coming out of Simon Kinberg, of all people. Simon Kinberg is going to be writing and producing a new Star Wars trilogy for Lucasfilm. Now, I'm of mixed emotions on this. One of the reasons why in the thumbnail I brought Mystique from Dark Phoenix, even though I did ultimately enjoy that movie. I really enjoyed Dark Phoenix for what it was. That was bad. Will he be able to pull it off? I do not know. But let's find out more. Let's read more here. Let's go into it. So, Lucasfilm has closed a deal with Simon Kinberg to develop a trilogy of Star Wars films. Kinberg will write the trio and produce them with Lucasfilm chief Kathleen Kennedy. I heard this will comprise episodes 10, 11, and 12 of the Skywalker saga that begin with George Lucas's 1977 first film, which, along with Steven Spielberg's Jaws, reshaped the global blockbuster game. I mean, it's really interesting that they're kind of like going with this. Yes, we already know all that stuff, especially about Jaws. Insiders disputed my intel that Kinberg will continue that storyline, saying that instead it will begin a new saga and sit alongside percolating Star Wars projects with James Mangold, Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, Taika Waititi, and Donald Glover. As usual, Lucasfilm and Disney are not commenting. So this is from who wrote this? This is from Mike Fleming Jr. Okay, so here's where we get into what he's done with Lucasfilm. Kinberg previously worked at Lucasfilm in co-creating with Dave Filoni and Carrie Beck the Emmy-nominated animated series Rebels that ran for 4 seasons from 2014 to 2018. He was also a consultant on Episode 7, The Force Awakens. And he's been heavily involved in other franchises. He worked on the X-Men movies and Logan. He did, this is a guy who wrote Dark Phoenix twice, by the way. He wrote Dark Phoenix twice, and he fucked it up both times. So, wait, hold on. Star Wars Theory said that 10, 11, and 12 is only 2 movies, not a trilogy. Well, when your butthole is the size of, or when your chin is the size of a Sarlacc pit, there you go. How long before he leaves the project? That's the question. Am I doing Collins? No, not today. So yeah, he's, we're going to have to wait and see on this one. I don't know, man. Look, okay. So, all right. But he's also done, he exec produced, Deadpool and Wolverine in part because of his work with the, X-Men movies and those other characters. That's why he exec produced that one, but he also was a producer on the first 2 Deadpool films. He produced the Ridley Scott directed The Martian, which was a great film. And he scripted films like Mr. and Mrs. Smith and co-wrote the film that launched Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. He also produced the Kenneth Branagh Agatha Christie film trilogy that started with Murder on the Orient Express. In short, he's comfortable in the franchise sphere. Yeah, fine. That is true. Okay, he's also producing the remake of The Running Man. Okay, and so he's, but that's being written by Seth Grahame-Smith, so I'm like not too worried. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see on that one there. Simon Kinberg, I don't believe Simon Kinberg is a person without talent. But as my little cryon here says, I have a bad feeling about this. For a number of reasons. One, like, what the fuck is going on at Lucasfilm? Okay. All right. Like, that's the whole point. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. They have more projects that have not come out that have come out. And is this something that we're going to end up seeing just getting, taken out? So here's this guy here. This guy, William Devereaux, over on Twitter. No one really important here. Senior PM, Microsoft Edge. Okay. But he hosts the Iron Cannon cast. So it's a Star Wars fan. So he's a Star Wars fan. Now it says here, the report that Lucasfilm has tapped Simon Kinberg to develop a Star Wars trilogy is exciting, but so many films have been announced that never made it to screen that now I try to temper my expectations. That got me thinking, what is the success rate of films under Disney? So here you go. You got, since Disney acquired Lucasfilm in 2018, 18 films have been announced or reported in the news. Of these, 28 were released, 56 are in production or likely to be released. 44% were canceled or have an uncertain future. 22% were canceled. These obviously aren't great numbers, especially after Disney originally touted a new film every year. We should be up to at least 12 releases by now, but the number of cancellations is actually lower than I expected. That said, some films may be indefinitely in limbo. So you've got released Force Awakens, Rogue One, Last Jedi, Solo, Rise of Skywalker. It's so weird to think that they've only done those movies. But in production, you've got The Mandalorian and Grogu. That's in post-production now. And then Dave Filoni's New Republic movie. Who knows what's going on with that? Likely to release Dawn of the Jedi from Mangold. The Rey movie. I don't know. This one's got kind of delayed. I don't know if that's going to happen. The Simon Kinberg trilogy. I don't know. Remember Dan and Dave from Game of Thrones? Uncertain future. The Taika Waititi movie. That's more than likely dead. The Lando movie. I think that would probably happen. Sean Levy's movie. I think that will probably happen because look, for Donald Glover and Sean Levy, those guys are pretty popular and they have a track record of success. Sean Levy's last movie grossing, the second highest grossing movie of the year. He'll get that. Rogue Squadron from Patty Jenkins, that is not happening. Canceled. The Boba Fett movie, the Rian Johnson trilogy, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss's movies, Kevin Feige's movie. The Feige movie, I still think is going to happen, but They have to get the X-Men into the MCU first. Okay. Then you've got, the TV series on Disney Plus. They've got about an 83% success rate for release. You may think a little bit differently for quality of that product. However, who knows what's going to be happening with all that. So I don't know. Like, I think about Simon Kinberg and I think, okay, this guy, look, he's, you think what you will with the X-Men stuff. He's got a resume, right? He's got the bona fides to have survived in the industry this long. But then I go back to like Fantastic Four, Fan Four Stick, right? And he brought Josh Trank into Lucasfilm in order to do the Boba Fett movie. And then ultimately Josh Trank crashed and burned, probably under the pressure. And then from there, he went, and then he had to go back and like reshoot Fantastic Four and edit around everything and rewrite parts of that movie and get that done. And the movie just bombed. It just bombed. So that ends up being the real big question here. Like, what the fuck is going on? What exactly are they doing? I don't know. Geek Studios asking, is Ahsoka season 2 happening? Yes. Yeah, they're releasing Ahsoka season 1 on 4K pretty soon. So yeah, it's happening. Senior Nerd here says, hit and miss for Star Wars series. I mean, I'll admit I haven't finished watching The Acolyte. I haven't seen Ahsoka or The Bad Batch season 3. It's not that I don't want to. It's not that I am not interested in watching them. I am. I don't know why, man. Maybe I just let the internet get to me a little bit too much. Because all the commentary was just bad, negative, terrible, right? Everything, And so you've got this overwhelming amount of people online that are just shitting on something. And you know what? Like, I'd like to think that I'm above that. I'd like to think that I'm like not going to be impacted by that. But the truth of the matter is I'm very impacted by it. And I think a lot of us are, especially when you spend all day in this space and you really like it. It's one of the reasons why now I'm really not engaging as much in that stuff. Like, I would rather do like the discussions like last night about specific topics and go into certain things rather than do anything else. But when I think about where we are as film goers, as people who just want to watch stuff and just enjoy stuff, I think it's like we have to just get past the noise. But the noise is overwhelming. When you look at like box office reports after a movie you want to see opens up and you didn't get to see it right away, or maybe you're on the fence about it, and you see the movie bombed at the box office because it underperformed with these projections, these magical, mystical projections that, like, yeah, there's some accuracy. Like they have a they're good guesses. They're educated guesses. Okay. But then you see the headlines. It bombed. It flopped. Nobody went to go see it. So then you go, well, why would I want to go watch this? Why would I want to go spend my time and my money to go watch something that other people already are ignoring? There's other things I could watch that could be better. And I think that mentality turns us off. And that mentality is something predicated very much by the media. And that ends up being a big problem. And so I don't know how to combat it. I don't know how to fight it. I don't even know if I can. But, movies like are probably going to be what gets me mentally through the next 4 years. And I'll acknowledge that. I'm not happy with the way things turned out this week, as I'm sure many of you already know and may feel the same. But I'm looking at it more through the lens of like, I would rather find things that make me happy and talk about things that make me happy rather than dwell on shit that I don't like, because it doesn't do anything for me. I ain't getting any younger. I ain't got more time on this planet. Why be angry? Why always be sad and upset? Let's see here. Okay. Samir asking, maybe you've addressed this already, but do you think that with the overwhelming Republican win, Hollywood will become more overtly right-wing? No, I don't believe so. I don't think you're going to see overtly right-wing. So you have to look at it through the lens of like what would be like the right and left brain aspect of it. But you have to look at it from creative to executive. So the purpose of movies, the purpose of the entertainment industry is to make money and make a lot of fucking money, but make money. So you have to spend money wisely in order to make money, right? That's the goal. So you have your business side that are always going to be frugal, that are always going to be conservative because they want to spend the least amount of money to make the most amount in the return. And then you got the creative side, which wants to tell these, these amazing stories that have all these effects and they vision them in their mind and they're massive and they're all bombastic and everything. And then they got to get the money to make that vision because those visions don't come cheap. Unless you're like me and you're just like, I just want to do talking head true crime documentaries. Go figure. Right. Or like stories like that. And then, so those two battle each other. And ultimately the studio side wins because they're the ones holding the bag, right? They hold the money. And so when a creative endeavor fails, they can write it off. And then that creative, unless they're already in kind of a protected position, will largely end up kind of being cast aside. We talked about this I talked about this the other day with Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow. That director, was a computer effects guy. He did the one movie 20 years ago with a big cast. And then the movie didn't do well. And we've never heard from he did one short film after that, according to his IMDb. And that's because the creative aspect, the creative idea that he tried to do was an experiment that Paramount was like, okay, back at a time when they could do that kind of thing more freely, and it didn't work. And so will Hollywood get more conservative? If you're talking about budgets, well, they should. If you're talking about storytelling, no. Now, will studios start to maybe invest a little bit more in some faith-based projects? Probably. Because faith-based projects and horror, they overlap. They bring people to the theater, right? Faith-based people will absolutely do that. And that's the thing we have to remember is that ultimately, they want to make money and that's how they're going to do it. All right. Command Unit here with 5. Thank you, buddy. Says Warhammer Cinematic Universe recently. Gary Oldman was spotted at Warhammer World, just like Henry Cavill was before the deal was announced. Now, that's interesting, Command Unit, and thank you for the super chat. But you got to remember, though, they just renewed Slow Horses for Season 4 over at Apple TV+. So if they're going to do anything with Gary Oldman and the Warhammer stuff, it's going to take a little bit, but let's hope. Zap here says, talk about whatever you want. We watch you, not the topics. You are overthinking this. Do what you want and you'll be happy. Well, no, it's like that. I'm drawn to the news in general. And believe me when I say I've thought about like just going like, today was a lot of news. I don't want to do that much news all the time. I just kind of like to go live and talk with you guys. And that's one of the things I really enjoy. The best time of day for me to do it is, between like about 12:30 and 1:30 p.m. Largely 12 to 1 on Wednesdays, because my kids are out of school in about an hour, and I got to go get them. And then I got to go to work because I got to work my night shift. Yay. But no, it's just like there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to watch. There's a lot of fun things. What I'm talking about, though, is the whole element of like, why do we watch movies? We watch them because we want to be entertained. We want to enjoy. We want to go into those worlds. People look at movies as an escape. And if you start believing that your escape is tainted and that it's garbage and that it's woke or it's DEI higher type shit, it's going to fuck with you. And so that's not what I want to do. That's not how I want to push it. Let the kids walk home. They're 5 and they're 6. Sure. I'll let them. Yeah. Yeah. Let them walk home. After this week, we definitely need Superman. We don't need Superman after this week. We don't. We need more Batman than we need Superman. Believe me. Because what we're looking at here is like white collar versus gigantic world domination shit. Anyway, Parallax here says more discussion panels would be great. Yesterday was a great live with Joe and Chris and Perp. Yeah, I had fun with that. I had fun with that. I want to do that a little bit early. I want to, try to do that a little bit earlier on Wednesdays. I have to just kind of like figure all that out. just because because I'm on the West Coast, Perp and Joe and they're on the East Coast, and Chris is Midwest. Time zones are a motherfucker. So we need the Punisher. There we go. We need that cathartic release of the Punisher. There we go, senior nerd. I love how Samir, Matt, Zap. We do need Superman. We don't. But I'm not here to make that argument. I've made that argument so many times. We don't need If you need a deity to remind you to be a good person, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. I don't need to read a book about, about a son returns to Earth with superpowers, helping people. I don't need that mythology in my life. All right. That's all it boils down to, guys. Music Man, thank you for enjoying yesterday's stream. Yeah, it was a good one. It was fun. It was kind of like spur of the moment sort of thing. And we'll do more of them. We'll do more. I don't know. I'll probably put a poll out, but with the topic ideas, because, there's always going to be kind of fun to go into it, unless something big happens, obviously. So we'll have to wait and see. But let's see. We got a couple more minutes left. Maybe no. Max does not want to talk to me. And that's okay. That's okay. Apparently, I don't need to rehash that stuff. Humanity showed its true colors this week. It did it though? Did it show its true colors? Because there's a lot to say about that, but I don't want to say it here, Spherical Man. I don't want to say it here. I have a lot of thoughts on. I'm just not trying to dive into the politics. I mean, this isn't a Boulder talk because I killed that off. But that needs to be. Oh, I did. Yeah. What was I going to say here? Yesterday was fun talking about the physical media stuff. Although I just got paid, but I'm holding off to Demolition Man. Let's see. Joey says, thank you. You have the best personality when it comes to movies. We don't get people like you when it comes to movies. Well, thank you. I mean, listen, man, I had a daydream. Okay. I'll share you guys. I'll share this with you guys. It's so dumb. You'll make fun of me, but I had a daydream at work the other day. I was like, man, what if I brought back Hollywood After Dark, man? You know where Hollywood After, where it would do well? I mean, it's legitimately fucking Sirius XM. Okay. Make me the Howard Stern of movie news coverage on Sirius XM. Go out there to all the people. Be like, what up, bitches? We're going to talk about fucking movies, motherfucker. Yeah. And it's just me throwing out cum jokes for an hour and a half. Am I getting Demolition Man on 4K? I want to, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna pre-order that one there. Parallax says DCU discussion would be nice, especially since it officially starts next month. And what expectations? Yeah, that's a good one, man. I will say I really enjoyed the trailer for Creature Commandos. I'm excited to see it. I've also been saying for a while that DC needs to go animation, forego live action, and go into animation. And I say this after I sing the praises of The Penguin as being probably the best show I've seen all year. But that's more of a crime drama, with these characters. But either way, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I think Creature Commandos is going to be good. I wish James Gunn all the best to make it work. I think he'll have more fun playing in the weird sandbox than playing with the sandbox of Superman. You know what I mean? I feel like he'll have more freedom. Now, granted, he's co-head of the studio, so he's got pretty much all the freedom he wants. All he's got to do is just convince David Zaslav to give him the money to do it. And after the failure of the Joker, as the first Elseworlds movie in the DCU, and it being a torrential failure, box office wise, I think they're going to scale back on that stuff. As I've said before, if you're not going to go animation, everything has to be under the umbrella, and that's what he wants to do. But they should merge in Matt Reeves' Batman universe into being almost like a pre-DCU. Have that be before Superman, and then have Robert Pattinson have another actor play Batman that's an older version of Pattinson's Batman. And that's what they should do. And the Joker should have been a prequel to that as well. There's so many ways to tie it all together. There's so many ways to make it work. You could have had Arthur Fleck be the inspiration for, you know, the Joker in the DCEU, in Suicide Squad. There's so many things that they could have done to just tie it all together. And I'm telling you right now, if they would have tied it all together, audiences would have come around to it. Because it would have been a little janky, or a little bit weird at first, right? Oh, these are all now connected. Okay. Right? Yeah, there'd be a little flubs here and there, but you know what? Whatever, man. It all gets fixed due to time, or forgotten due to time, whatever. And then they put it together, and there you go. Now you've got one DC universe with all of these stories that are now connected, and again, easy to do. And going forward, they all fall into the same fucking timeline. There you go. That's it. That's how you do it. Joker does not need to be in the Batman. And Joker should have been a prequel to the Batman. Arthur Fleck should have been meeting young Robert Pattinson in that movie. That's what they should do. They should let's see here. I should be back. Wait, you should be back. Collider Movie Talk. Team could be Chris and RJ. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Ash here says Boulder Talk Radio returns in 28 when Jon Stewart wins presidency. God, at this point, I think he might actually run. But I do not. Again, okay. So, like, look, as a quick aside, do I want to talk politics? Yeah, I do. Okay, I do. All right, I'm passionate about it. You guys know that. This week sucked, and am I coping a little bit? Maybe, sure, but I'm also trying to not like give in to despair. I'm not trying to give in to like anger, because it's not hard to see what happened. It's not hard to see where the failures were. My frustration lies more with the Democrats than anybody else. And that's because their outreach program sucked, and they didn't do well enough to make people to understand that there's always a long road to recovery. And they allowed themselves under decorum to take the blame for shit that they shouldn't have. And they didn't act hard enough when they should have. And that's yeah. Anyway, that's all I really just want to say about that, because they fucking, that's what pisses me off. But you know what doesn't piss me off? Movies, man. Movies doesn't make me mad. Movies doesn't make me angry. Movies doesn't make me upset. All right? I just like them. They're fun. Let's see here. Spherical Man says, Joker doesn't and didn't need a sequel. If anything, Joker 2 undid everything from the first film. But I think that was the point. From what I've been hearing, that was the point, right? The first movie ended with almost a guy going crazy, killing people, and kind of igniting an anarchist revolution from people who were tired of the status quo, from the elites, right? Being oppressed by the elites. That's a lot of what it was. And from my understanding, the sequel is really about kind of undoing that. Like, you don't worship this guy. He's a piece of shit. Don't worship him. He'll let you down. This is not who you should be. This is not who you should be fucking backing, sort of thing. Joey says, I saw they changed Collider Movie Talk channel to Ladies Night Out. Yeah. Perry Nemiroff is the last remaining vestibule of anything from Collider Movie Talk. And it still can't pull in anything like John Campea can. Now, listen, I'll be fair. You've got your people who talk about movies, and they've all got their different flair. They've all got their different flavor. You've got, people like Campea that has a whole team of editors. You got people like Grace that have got the inside track to be able to go and see these movies. She's got, like, she lives in New York. There's a lot of access to this kind of stuff. There's a lot that these people get access to, and they talk about it all the time. And that's a good thing, is you do have more or less more positive voices, but because they don't operate on emotion as much as anything else. Because remember, like the John Campea videos that get the most play are the ones where he gets mad and starts going like raging Canadian, like those are the ones that get the most traction. Cause that's when people are like, oh, he's angry. I want to see this. Like, that's the big factor. So that's the whole point, right? So it's like, I know I have a point. I'm trying to make a point. Anyway, I'm kind of just all over the place. Perry is boring. Perry, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you, to be fair. Parallax says here, 2025 is going to be a sad year when Campea retires after Superman. I don't think he's going to retire. I don't think he's going to retire. He might claim to retire, but I don't think he's going to retire. Not personally. Because the thing is, that's his life, man. Like that's absolutely his life is that shit. So it's kind of, why, like what else is he doing? Command Unit here says, my review of Space Marine 2 story, it's surprisingly small scale, focusing on the Titus and his new squad, learning, trust, and healing from the trauma. Nice. Yeah, I hear it's good. I want to get it. I beat Star Wars Outlaws and I've been playing Black Ops 6. I'm just mostly going through the multiplayer and, having fun with that. Garrick for 5, thank you, says, can't even be disappointed about the Star Wars news. Given Lucasfilm's recent track record of Star Wars projects, movie probably won't happen. I think they're waiting on The Mandalorian and Grogu. And as I've said, it's like, stick within that time frame. Stick within that time frame. Like, do I think he'll move back to Canada? Campea? No. California is a nice place. His wife's cosplay is expensive. He'll keep streaming. Oof. She's got like a doctorate, doesn't she? Like a master's or something. She makes her own money. Sorry, I needed a drink. But going back to Garrick here. Yeah, I mean, Lucasfilm announcing things like this before they're ready to go is just a big problem. I don't get why they do it. I don't understand why they do it like that, why they decide all the time to make these announcements. They should just make them internally and start filming them and then go from there. I just don't know why. Kathleen Kennedy is like, again, I feel like she's got to go, right? And I don't mean this to be a dick. I don't mean this to be mean or anything. But I feel like Kathleen Kennedy's at a place in her life where it's like you've done this now for 12 years. You've overseen this. And either she's waiting for George to die or what, I don't know. I wish I knew. I don't know. And quite frankly, nobody does, except for Kathleen Kennedy. Filoni is in that creative position where he'll be able to, I think, work with Simon Kinberg and really focus on getting a good story. I don't know why they want to keep playing in the Skywalker saga. It's done. Better or worse, it is done. Let it be done. Let the galaxy move forward. But again, at the same time, I say this, I feel like they should play in that space between Andor and Mandalorian, which is about a 12-year space, and you can have, stories about war. We still like watching movies where Allied troops go up against Nazis. We already know the outcome of the war, but we still like them. And that's all you got to do for Star Wars, man. That's all you got to do. It's World War II in space. That's it. With a little bit of mysticism. That's all you got to do. But they're like, no, we need to go further and outwards and all this stuff. And it's like, I get frustrated because I love it so much. And I'm like, I don't understand how you guys can sit here and just do this. Like, just no, do it differently. God damn it. All right. Garrick here for 2. Thank you. Says, overall, what do you think of Simon Kinberg? I don't think he's bad. I think he needs to have a good group of producers with him. I think he knows how to tell competent stories. And I think he knows how to work within a studio system to get content made. Because he was with the Fox movies for a long time. Good, bad, or the other. Helped see them through. And this is going to be, it's going to be an experience to see. It's going to be a very interesting experience to see. So I don't know. I wish everyone there the best. I will, I'll watch it, obviously. I'm hopeful that we will get something good and that we will be able to make Star Wars great again. Yeah, I agree.
there's that. It's we don't need more Skywalker, but we do need more Vietnam, or we do need more Star Wars. Yeah. Samir says, I thought it was Vietnam in space. The rebels were based on the Viet Cong, but the conflict, I mean, you could argue that, how about this? Instead of saying World War II, okay, how about the French Revolution? All right. Like, how about not the French Revolution, the rebellion, right? The whatever it was. Those guys, like the guerrilla warfare against the Germans. Or fuck it, just make it World War II. You know, I mean, go and look at Andor. Andor very much plays up the World War II vibes. Very much plays up the World War II vibes. And it works. There's heists, there's shootouts, there's prison breaks. You know, I mean, all of this taking place over the span of a year. I mean, there's like rebellion, rises, all sorts of things. Andor has played into like everything that you would get from a World War II spy drama. And they did it in Star Wars, and they did it beautifully. Beautifully. That's what I'm talking about. You know, if you are ever wondering about what the potential of Star Wars without Jedis is, go watch Andor season 1. Right? Go watch Andor season 1. It's so good. Clone Wars live action. Yeah, I think we're going to get that. I think we are going to get that. I think Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen want to do something set in the Clone Wars, but I'm like, guys, come on, like you're 20 years older now. You know, it's like, what are you going to do? You going to de-age everybody again? They could, but I don't know. I think it'd be more interesting if they like mocapped it. And did all that. So, there was an Andor TV show since when? Since 2023, dude. Season 1 is on Disney Plus. It's great. So, hold on. Reeves don't want to join the DCU. Yeah, well, you know what? It's not his place to make that call. He doesn't make the money. You know what I'm saying? He should fucking do it. I don't care. I don't care what Matt Reeves wants. You're talking about like the continuity of a plan. Otherwise, it's just it's going to screw everything up. That's the whole point. You have got to sit there and do that. If you don't, then yeah, whatever. Anyway. If Reeves quits, it would be a huge embarrassment. I don't think he would quit, but they could negotiate. And it's all about negotiation. Right? I don't think he would quit. I think he wants to play in that sandbox. But you got to connect everything. If you're not gonna go where Marvel isn't, if you're not gonna do what Marvel isn't doing, then fucking follow them. Then just fucking follow them. Then do what they're doing, but do it better. Give better content. So. Oh, you don't buy the whole Reeves is refusing thing, something Grace made up? I don't know. She has me blocked. Oh, but I can see her tweets now because of the way Twitter works. That's how I'm able to read discussing film. I'm still blocked over there. I should probably tweet Jacob Fisher and be like, hey man, unblock me. Anyway. But all right, guys. On that note, it is 1:40. I got to go get my kids in like 30 minutes. So I thank you guys for hanging out. I'll be back on tomorrow, probably about 12:30 or so. Maybe a little earlier than that. I slept a little late today. So, good times. Thank you guys. Please like the stream if you haven't already. If you're on Twitter, check us out, $3 Theater on YouTube. And I'll see y'all later.